gonna tell you right off the bat, most of this video will be on the floor, but I thought it'd look more professional if we started in the chair with the background behind me. No, but seriously, we're mostly gonna be on the floor because I'm gonna be talking about my scrapbooks, and the easiest way for me to access all the scrapbooks and hold up things, or if I want to for examples, or even if I just wanna feel emotions or whatever, will be on the ground. I love floor time. Hi, I'm Lauren, filmmaker extraordinaire, and today we're talking about my scrapbooks. I have talked about them before. I made, I think, one video definitely that I'll link talking about where I scrapbooking without pictures. I do now use pictures to an extent, and I'll talk about that later. I don't know, I just found myself thinking about like why remember like sad moments, upsetting moments, and I don't mean that as in like a why should, like as if I want to forget them, because it can be really painful, I think. Painful memories, whether it's romantic partners, friends, or something that happened to me by my, like, just like certain things happen in your life that you cannot forget or forget easily, and then like a reminder comes and it's like, oh my god, I don't want to remember this thing. But I feel like every time you see like a book, or you see a movie, read a book, and there's some kind of dystopian or sci-fi element where it's like, take this drink and you'll forget everything bad that's ever happened to you or whatever. Like, that's always the wrong decision. And I just kind of felt validated in myself with my scrapbooks and why I write things down, knowing that like it may not always be that way, but like we gotta just keep going with it and try our best. And with that really random, rambly intro, I think it's time to get to the floor time. It all began on a dark and stormy night. Not really, actually. My scrapbooking journey began when I was a kid, and I made a really sad scrapbook about a Lake George trip. If I can find that scrapbook, maybe in the basement, I'll put a picture over here. But I made that scrapbook, maybe a couple other like photo album-y things, and then that was it basically for years. When I was going to go into college, everyone's always said college would be the best 4 years of your life, try to remember all of it. And I had kept some journals for a time, but I'd stopped the journaling. And I was an agenda person, but that's more about like life entries versus like thoughts or like memories. And I had the brilliant idea of I was gonna make scrapbooks for my college years. And this one's plastic and spine had vanished, but I did. And that is why I have college volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. There would have probably been 4 volumes, except that I was in college during COVID and I was doing a lot less for a big period of time because of the pandemic. So that's why there's only 3 volumes. I mean, for all I know, there would have only been 3 anyways, but I kind of feel like had there not been for the pandemic, I would have had a volume 4. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm happy with them as is. And the journey for my scrapbooks really evolved. Currently, when I use my scrapbooks, my scraps, obviously, I kind of call it my like precious garbage. I'll be out somewhere like, oh, are you gonna take that like sticker, or like literally maybe it's a piece of paper, like a flyer or a handout. Like I keep a lot of stuff, and then I get rid of like whatever I kind of don't use later out of that, whether it was a map, maybe I cut out a logo or something. I just don't know yet what the page will ultimately look like, and I want to give myself as many options as possible. So along with the scrap pile, I use a ton of stickers. Now, as you can see in the photo, I have a lot of stickers. I did not start with this many stickers, okay? I started with maybe 1 or 2 sticker packs. I've been now scrapbooking, I started in 2018, and now it's 2025, right? So it has been not quite 7 years if you think about like when I actually started in the year, but it's been a long time of scrapbooking. So sorry, the dog's barking. But it's been a long time of scrapbooking for me, and I have accumulated these stickers over time. I also now really do try to use up like scrapbook pages, and that is like a concentrated effort I'm doing. 2 of my scrapbooks are just like Christmassy, winter themed, so those I go through slower than the other ones. And okay, yeah, so I've discussed the scraps, the stickers. I really cannot emphasize enough how much my scrapbooking life changed when I got the Instax mini printer, which I wish was sponsored. If you're watching this video, sponsor me, please. But right now it's not sponsored. I have to buy all my own film all the time. And, you know, I got the printer, I think as a present though, years ago. And you can really see like in my scrapbooking evolution, which I will put on the screen a bit later as I talk about it, like how my scrapbooking life really changed when I got pictures involved, what I could print on demand versus like a picture that I randomly got every now and then. For the most part, when I started scrapbooking, it was literally just like the scraps, stickers, and a ton of writing. And the writing, like at one point, really got out of hand. I will please insert, Lauren, some pictures here of when the writing really got out of hand, okay? Like we started very normal in College Volume 1. When we look through College Volume 1, you know, we see very basic, nice opening, some pages. There's some pictures, you know, little things that I may have gathered, a couple notes. Things are artfully taped or Googled, taped or glued in. Some writing, but it's really not that bad. We have like a really good feature from like October and then November. I was like popping off with this page. And then, you know, we kind of go off the rails. I say I went into my deep writing era. Like really, I was writing so much. I think this was freshman year of college and it was like second semester. And I think I just like was really feeling, well, I'm like happy with my scrapbook, but also I think at this time I really should have just picked up a journal again, but I hadn't come to that conclusion myself. And to be fair, I don't journal presently. If I have like a lot of feelings, I will write them out, but I don't have like a dedicated journal at this time. But I do think that Lauren really should have gotten a journal at this time because I was writing so much, so many details, like nobody cares. Why do I have so many details about things? I don't know. Like, do I really need to know that what we had to drink was lemonade, green tea, mint, and strawberry in a beverage? Like, no, that was a lot of unnecessary details. And it's amusing for me now, but at the time, I also remember, like, I was writing such tiny font because I was afraid of running out of room in the scrapbook for the writing part. Like, it's honestly bananas when I think about it. But that was like what I was doing. And then finally, like months later, and by months, I mean like months. Like I think, I'm like looking through the scrapbook. Low key, like for months, like almost the whole spring semester low key, I was in my intense writing era. I didn't really calm down until the summer, I would say. And even then it's still a lot of writing, but we're past like Lauren's peak writing era. And I'm like finally calming down. So I'm like calming down, I'm getting sort of maybe a groove, maybe back, and time for volume 2, right? So now it's beginning of sophomore year, and I'm still writing more than maybe I write now. It's kind of hard to tell. I write in a bigger scrapbook now, so it's like a little visually wackadoodle, but I'm definitely getting my groove back. Like pages are looking better. And yeah, so this is kind of then how I progressed. And this time, like I didn't have the printer yet. So it's a lot of stickers, a lot of really kind of random stuff, like anything I could make a sticker work for, I was putting in. And I really like love looking back at this, even things that, you know, people that I don't talk to anymore, or like, you know, my college relationship that I'm not in anymore, like it just makes me feel like happy. And it's funny, like things that I don't really, like it's not, I don't know if I forgot, but I just don't think about them. And then I like read about like, oh, the time I went to the math museum, and you know, it's like, do I think about that a lot? No, but now it's like amusing. I kind of followed along at first with the prime numbers and ratios until, wait, what does this even mean? I kind of followed along at first with prime numbers and ratios. Oh, okay, I'm pretty sure I actually forgot to write a word here. Then we started learning about zeta functions and the Riemann hypothesis, and I got confused. I'm confused reading it now. So, see, look, now past Lauren and present Lauren are both confused. We have now bonded over the time-space continuum. It's just a nice, beautiful, fresh time where I was really exploring, and it was a great way for me to be creative. I mean, I was putting in stickers from like pliables, you know, like anytime I could get, anywhere I could get my hands on a sticker, it was making it in the book. I also think that this year, the 2020, is the first year that I put the holiday card in. I got my groove down, and it just then continued, you know, grooving and vibing into volume 3, basically. Like, I don't really think anything crazy, and my style didn't change really in volume 3 until I got the printer. Oh yeah, I got the holiday card. holiday card. Sorry, I'm just shouting at myself, basically. I hate that this book kind of like got busted somehow. I might one day replace the book, but for now, it amuses me that a College Volume 3 is a little janky. Yeah, it must have been my birthday, because the first one of these I have, when I discovered I could also do collages in the app, is from around my birthday in March. And the Instax printer, like really life-changing stuff. The printer, the papers, like they're kind of expensive photos, and in the small book I try not to have more than like 2 on a page, and in the big books I try not to have more than 3 or 4 on a page depending on the spread. And I'm really proud of myself, honestly, that I didn't go like ham and just like print everything, because I didn't like how it looked, and I still don't like how it looks, so like good for us for being in sync, me and my past self. And then I still of course used stickers. In fact, sometimes I used a randomly large amount of stickers there, but like I could just be even more creative and expressive because I could really like mess with stuff. And some pages obviously had like the whole page was one thing, or it was like a bunch of tiny stuff. Coincidentally, basically, I wrapped this scrapbook at the very beginning of May of my senior year of college, and I kind of had to make then a decision, right? Like, are you gonna continue scrapbooking as an adult? Because I'd originally wanted to scrapbook for college. But I really liked it. Like, it's fun. I mean, I still scrapbook, so obviously I've been really enjoying it. So I was like, no, we're gonna do it as an adult. I mean, I was sort of already an adult if we're thinking about like age. I was 22, but like, you know what I mean, as an adult out of college. But I decided we're gonna step up the book. So then I got the big book, and I got a red one again because my college volume 1 was a red book, so I wanted to be funny and get adult volume 1 as a red book also. And this initially, like the first spread was really easy for me to make because it was all about my commencement. Literally, I have 1 full page about my college graduation. But you know what? That was a big deal. So I don't regret this. I really don't regret it at all. This spread, I actually think it's beautiful. But then I started being like, oh my God. I felt almost out of my depth again. I was a little prepared, but like I had to come up with a new balance of writing and scraps and pictures and all that jazz. Of course, I still have the mini printer, so there's more pictures in this era of my life. I'm very happy that I have some of this recorded, especially with my trip with my sister, and when I first moved to LA. You know, moving across the country was a big deal, and I was kind of mentally like wackoed. So it's kind of funny to see like what made the scrapbook. Like some of it makes sense, but like I put in like me and my roommate went to get coffee, and I don't drink coffee, so I got tea. And I put a picture of that of us like drinking. We got tea. Like we did like a very normal activity, and that made the scrapbook at this time because I was like all over the place. And it's kind of wholesome and sweet. Like little Lauren was like really in her moment. Almost everything I put in my scrapbook is positive. Unless it's like something that is like a life moment that needs to be recorded, like a breakup, or, you know, like I had put really excited, like I voted sticker like for Kamala Harris, and then I had to write an amendment that she didn't win. So things like that are very personally painful for me, or even like a friend breakup, like anything like that. And then also like big life things that somehow felt impactful to me, whether they impacted me directly or not. But other than those things, like pretty much everything I write in my scrapbook is happy at the time. And I scrapbooked through, you know, multiple romantic partners and stuff. So it's not like, you know, by the second partner that I had while I was scrapbooking, like I knew there was a chance that I was going to be writing about these like happy romantic memories and that we would break up or something. But I didn't want to like not write about those. One, because what if we did break up? But also two, like I obviously lived through the other time, and that's my life. You know, it's part of my life, and I'm not going to like hide that because I'm afraid of bad things happening, or like I want to be like that old lady on the Titanic, you know, Rose, like thinking about her fun life when she was younger, aside from the Titanic sinking and stuff. There's no point in like only preserving things that you feel like are a sure guarantee to stay like happy and positive forever, because, you know, like I wrote about some things with some of my friends from college, and like one of my friends like went off the rails. Like we do not, like, you can't guarantee anything like that. And I don't want to censor my own book, especially when I'm happy. I love writing about my happy memories. And is it painful for a while sometimes if something then happens for me to look at that? Yes. But like now I can look through like my college scrapbooks and I can see my college boyfriend, and I don't feel like sad, you know, anymore. Like I was like, oh, that was cute. That was a cute time. Like I don't feel like that hurt pain anymore. And I do believe that with everything that I've written about that is painful, there'll be some degree of like separation removal, and I'll be grateful that I wrote this stuff down. Now I know that my scrapbook's a little different than a lot of other people's. And I am also cognizant to a sense now, like there was a time when I was doing like the really in-depth writing that I did sometimes like, ooh, is this like too much in my head? And like if someone reads this, like they don't actually need to know my, like all my deep emotional thoughts about like a movie that I watched. That can be on my Letterboxd review. Like that doesn't need to be poured my heart and soul into this book. But for the most part, I'll say like a kind of surface level, maybe emotions or a funny anecdote or something, but I don't write about like if I'm in turmoil about something or like overly over the top language at this time because I'm out of the writing era. Again, if I really feel like I need to really write a lot to express something, if I want it to be public, I can put it on my Substack now. And if I want it to not be public, I can write it in my kind of like random notebook journal that's not like, I don't write in it consistently, right? Sorry, I just looked down and saw that my sticker that I put for Taylor Swift releasing Midnights, that's the kind of vibes Lauren was at. That was a moment in time that I put that. I was like, this is going in the scrapbook, okay? Taylor Swift released a music album. Got the holiday card. And yeah, I'm so happy with the scrapbook. I just don't regret writing in it or anything, honestly. And I will say it's more costly than I think envisioned because like they're not like no individual thing is that expensive. Except maybe the photos, though I now buy them in bulk. I think I buy like the pack of Fujifilm, like 120 pack, because it's like the cheapest per photo. This page was honestly like way more photos than I usually put in. But like it's, you know, with the stickers and the books, and I did buy like pretty paper and things, like it's become more costly than I ever maybe thought it was going to be. But to me it's also like a worthy spot my money in. I'm not like upset that I've poured money into it. The biggest thing, honestly, that the scrapbook takes is not money. It is time, because I like to have like a spread, if possible, that looks relatively cohesive, and you really can't do that unless you kind of wait to make the spread. Because if I kind of do things as they happen, the page looks kind of like, which is how some of my earlier like college books looked, the pages, because I was just like boom, 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 versus making like an aesthetic look that I can rearrange. And I actually sometimes will even like make an arrangement, but I won't glue or tape anything. I'll even send a picture like to my family, my friends, be like, what do we think about this? Because I'm just curious. So I do put a lot of thought into like the layout and the design. And then sometimes I'm really behind. Like I will show you when we get there, but I'm behind currently. I would say I'm either always like right on time or I'm like a month and a half behind because of how, depending on what I'm doing. If I have a really busy period, then I can get really behind because it takes long to fill in the kind of the gap, versus if it hasn't been that crazy, or maybe it was crazy like with my work life and I've just been working constantly. Like I can't record that I was working in my scrapbook. Like, I mean, I could, but that's not really scrapbook worthy in my opinion. If there's a big thing that happened maybe for work, sure. Like when we had like a Halloween party at work and we got a picture of my friends, like I put that in. In fact, I must have seen it so like from the corner of my eye, my periphery, right? We got like the Halloween party and like a Christmas party. Like that makes it, but just actual regular working, like that's not making the book. We got another holiday card. You know, they all make it. I really love I love my holiday cards. I then had to make another choice. When I finished volume 2, I was like, I went through that kind of fast. So I decided to upgrade, and this is like a bigger book. Like I think this one, maybe without an extender, could fit 20 pages. And I think this one's 50, so it's actually like 100. I'm not exactly sure, but this one was more expensive. I called this my mid-20s. And this began actually this year. So it opened with my New Zealand trip, which really strong start for the book, I must say. Like this is right up there with the opening of getting into college and then / graduating college. This is a strong contender for a book. I would say like when I go on a vacation, sometimes it gets a little more in my like writing era again, because like, yes, my sister and I are going to make like a photo album book, but this is sort of like my really intense memories that I really want to keep track of from my trip. And then it's like more casual after that, I would say. Actually, it's not. I thought it was more casual, but I'm like looking and it feels like there was, maybe I was in my writing era again this year. I mean, I did move again across the country, so maybe that's a theme. You know, I'm like really like whoa. I'm in my, instead of like kind of going back to like random stickers, instead I kind of regressed a little to the writing era. I feel like in my brain I didn't think I was writing that much, but after like going through all the scrapbooks in a row, I'm like, whoa, crazy. I'm currently in the middle of May, mid to late May, working on it. So you can see that I have this space here. And then I actually have, I will put a picture here, but also hold up. Like, I have this. Like, it's literally just like the first thing of the spread and a couple dates that I've written in. And you can see that there's things that I've gathered from various places, some photos, and then we started with the stickers. I usually do the stickers like kind of in layers. So if there's an important thing that I don't have a picture or a scrap or anything, the sticker goes first. And then as I put in things, some basic layouts, like I add a couple stickers to kind of fill in the space. And then once I write more, I add more stickers. Like maybe I didn't write as much as I thought I would, so I need to put a sticker there. Or maybe I'm like, oh, this sticker would actually perfectly represent what I'm writing about, and I add the sticker. So I'd like to leave some room for some like additions and fun things to happen. And then I have like literally, like these are actually like regular blank piece of paper. Like I haven't replaced them yet with my pretty paper. I have like all this beautiful paper, you know, full of memories I have yet to have, you know, adventures I've yet to go on. And that's really exciting to me, and it makes me feel like there's like a, I don't know, you know that song that's on TikTok? It's like, life is worth living. That's like the vibe that I get. I feel like when I look through my scrapbooks, and it's really nice. This might be vanity, okay? But I really do feel like, maybe not the scrapbooks in their entirety, but I feel like some pages in my scrapbook like really are like works of art in my heart and in my mind. And maybe I have a really painful time, something really crazy happens and I want to burn everything. But like, not really, I don't want to ruin my art. I spent time and money on these things, baby, and they're my life. And my life is gonna suck sometimes. And as you've seen, if you've watched any of my other videos, like I struggle with some mental health problems and I go in some like ruts and depressions, and it can be nice to look at happy memories in those times. And also if there's a sad thing, you know, like I know I've lived before, I'm gonna live again, and it's nice to have that record, that kind of proof of testimony that I've been through things and I've done things and I've accomplished stuff. Sometimes I feel like I've done absolutely nothing with my life. Like I get into like a whole spiral down the rabbit hole, and I can be like, wait a second, you've done a lot of stuff. Even if you just think about the fact that, you know, you graduated college, you lived across the country for several years, that's cool just on the bat. You know, like no other info needed and you did something. And it might be dumb, but sometimes I just need the reminder, like a nice visual reminder, and that's what my scrapbook can give me. And it just makes me happy, and I'm grateful for it, and I'm grateful to have, you know, these memories of mine that I've spent a lot of time in and love making. And I mean, I love making them, but I've also poured love into making them, and it's just been so rewarding for me. Like I never would have thought it would be so rewarding when I started the process and have my life documented in this way that, I mean, let's be for real. I'm the only one who's really looking at them. Sometimes my family looks. And when I'm dead, hopefully many, many years from now, maybe my kids and grandkids will look at them. Otherwise, I'm sure they'll be thrown away. But right now, they're not thrown away. Right now, my precious garbage is my precious garbage. Okay, it's not someone's unprecious garbage. It's mine. I love it. I make space for it. I make time for it. And I would never, ever want to destroy any of them. Even the stuff that, you know, things that were like really happy moments that are painful to think about. Past Lauren was really happy at those times. And it's not, wow, it's not up to present Lauren to erase that. Because what if future Lauren, you know, wants to remember that one day and, you know, current me like ruin that for later me. I don't want to do that. Like maybe at one point I'll just change my mind and I'll like put everything in a box, but for now that's not the case. And for things that are painful, I could just skip, just pass the page over. I don't need to rip it out. I don't need to cover anything. I can just skip the page, and maybe one day I can look at it again, because there's pages that are from more, like a longer time ago, that I can look at again. And I just have to trust that'll happen for the more recent stuff. And I really wasn't expecting to kind of suddenly get emotional, so give me a moment to gather myself. Upon gathering myself, I actually realized I kind of discussed everything I wanted, and honestly, I don't know who's even still watching, but they're heavy. These are my scrapbooks right now. They're heavy, and I love them, and I sincerely hope that maybe you'll make scrapbooks now too. I hope you enjoyed the video. Admittedly, I'm filming the ending before I film the middle, so I have no idea really what I am ultimately going to say. I know what my notes were, so hopefully this made you feel maybe a bit better about your own record keeping of painful memories, or maybe you've now inspired to start recording elements of your life, even though you might be afraid that, things might change, because life is about change, and that's okay. I'm not trying to convince you to start scrapbooking or journaling, keeping a diary, keeping just photo albums, whatever. But if you have thought about it, let this be the nudge to push you forward in a positive, happy way. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below whatever your thoughts are or anything, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see all my fabulous videos about all sorts of interesting content, because I'm an interesting person and interesting people make interesting content. At least that's what I tell myself. Bye.